I had a first career in international financial services. I've lived and worked around the world, mostly in financial services, looking at individuals. So not big corporates, but with private individuals, with families. Worked in asset management. I've worked in investing and businesses that lend, take deposits, and innovate for entrepreneurs. Some of it is private banking. Some of it was a bit more mass market. For the last 8 years, really, I've been very involved with, since technology came to the fore, very involved with a number of fintechs, marketing technology, a bit of educational technology. I looked at, what do I do next? Do I want to go and take another corporate job and be frustrated, or do I want to be part of the change? So I went for the change. Why do I think that's relevant for marketing? I've always been in what I would call commercial development. Companies that make products or have a service, they have their IP and they sell it. Marketing should be all about the amplification. How do we talk about the product or the service, and how do we facilitate the sale? So I don't feel any, and I hope I'm not going to go against the theme of your survey here, but I don't feel any sense of loss or that marketing is under threat in any way with technology and AI. Marketing should be about leading the change in the organization. It should be the most innovative area because it's working with what customers are looking to do. There'll always be examples of firms able to be very traditional, doing craftsman kind of work. Then you look at the technology that's created new opportunities where nobody could have even imagined that it would be possible to do these things in the past.
That's really interesting. I'm a marketer for 15 years and I'd never realized that marketing is the most innovative function in the house.
Yeah. And so when people say, oh, I'm really worried about marketing and what's going to happen in the future, I think there's a few themes that are misunderstood. Creativity is definitely suffering at the moment. People don't value creativity, inspirational ideas as much as they used to, because they can go and ask Perplexity or GPT for them and they think they get something different. Whether it's better or worse, I think it's too early to say. That kind of creativity that people used to come up with was genius ideas, right? And you can see, if you look back in old campaigns or advertising, or even in the way great content was created, I think we'll lose some of that. Mm-hmm. Some of that used to take 6 months to produce, right? Now you can do it in 6 minutes. One of the things which marketers very often get blamed for is they're called the coloring in department. They're always thinking about the colors and the design and everything, right? And I think it's fine to be in charge of the brand and to own the logo and to be the coloring in department. Why not? Celebrate it. It's fun. It's great working in marketing. That's why I chose to work there, because it is a good fun area. You get to meet the clients, you think about everything in the organization. There's the internal brand, there's the internal marketing. It's a little bit like a rock concert. It's access all areas, right? When you wear a marketing pass, you can go everywhere, right? And backstage is always the most fun, even though the magic happens out in front. But I think one of the things that marketers have not been swift to grasp are the opportunities around data. And this is now becoming a data-based function. Some people look at it and think, oh, that means numbers. No, it doesn't. It means data. It means insights. It means understanding trends. It means understanding preference and doing it in a very adaptive way. And of course, without the technology, you couldn't actually absorb the amounts of data and insight that you're getting now, right?
Mm-hmm. We just moved into digital first space. Everything is tracked.
Yeah. I don't think people should feel like marketing is under threat. I think they should rather say marketing should be bringing the lead.
I suppose in the context of implementing organic growth to businesses, what are the challenges there? What's the most difficult?
So I personally think that most difficult is to maintain margin because everything is commoditized. Take an example like hotels, right? Big traditional hotel. Where do you live?
I'm based in London.
Okay, so take big hotel, the Ritz. You know, it used to be very expensive to go there. If you had to ask the price, you couldn't afford it. It was for people who didn't worry about the price. Same with Claridge's. At the other extreme, you take somewhere like, you can find there are apartments 5 minutes from the Ritz or the Dorchester. At 5 o'clock on Friday, they're £10,000. But at 7 o'clock on Friday, if they haven't rented them, it's £1,500. Dynamic pricing, right? You can get central London for 6 people for £1,500 for the weekend. Amazing. You couldn't find a hotel of that standard, that cheap. Of course, it's hard work, right? That's how life is. There are no free lunches. Throughout my career, I've lived through booming periods of the economy and down periods of the economy. I've never known a year when everybody went, this should be a really easy year. It was always hard work, right? Every year we had to win our customers, satisfy our customers, surprise and delight the customers, come up with new things, and still you lose some, still you win some. But the big thing is you constant reinvention in what you're doing.
What would you do if you had unlimited time, money, resources in this SEO growth or organic growth?
Around SEO or online?
In this process you're describing.
I think it's going to happen to everybody inevitably. This is what AI is driving. Just like the question you just asked me, natural language questions. What would you do? How would you do this? Where would you go? And that's the future of search, right? Nobody's going to be using Google soon. Everybody will just go to a chat platform, and they won't want their answers back in a Google format. They're going to want them in a, would you like to book a hotel? And if I am asking about a restaurant, when's it for? Oh, it's for next Friday. Okay, let me make a booking for you. Shall I go ahead and confirm that? And the convenience that people will come to expect from that. In other areas where it's perhaps a little bit more important, thinking things like hotel bookings can be important. I'm thinking of things like healthcare and so on, where your ability to, if you have an illness, be monitored or submit your data or say, hey, I'm feeling like this. What should I do? And to have, right now you need to go and talk to your doctor, or actually that's fine, that's just one of the symptoms, that's okay. The reassurance, you can check in around it.
Makes sense.
There's this paradox, right? That people are much more truthful when they're alone with their computer screen and they're answering questions to a bot or to a website than they are when they're, if you were my doctor and I was talking to you and you asked me the question, I find it harder to answer you than if I'm just alone answering. So there's a different kind of exchange that happens.
Yeah, I noticed that with cashiers. Like I somehow prefer the automated cashier, less human interaction. I catch what you're going with that. Is there anything else you would add? Any sort of thoughts on or closing thoughts?
I suppose there's always a tendency to want to think about all these things as generational, right? And whilst I think that's interesting, I'm not sure that it's defining. Clearly, I have 4 kids. They're all in their 20s and they're digital native, right? They've never known a world without mobile phones. When I talk to them and I say, before the internet, they're like, what do you mean before the internet? How old are you?
Even before the internet.
If you're digitally native, you've never thought about different ways of doing things. And of course, one of my friends, he said, oh, let me show you how to repair a plug to his son. And his son said, Dad, I'm not interested. If I need to know, I'll just look it up on YouTube.
Yeah.
And I kind of respect that. In another way, it's a bit of a shame that we've lost certain things, but we've gained so much more as well.
Yeah, I was actually just thinking about that the other day, that even the marriages aspect, like you used to need another person to just survive. And now you don't, because you have this ecosystem that provides information, provides you food. Everything's at a click of a button. It's no wonder that spouses are even replaced by, in our generations, obviously, there's like a big crisis of no more marriages, no more birth going on.
Yeah.
It's almost like those needs were exported or outsourced. It's very weird.
I think that's an adjustment thing that happens there, right? It's a very big topic. There's a kind of adjustment that's happening, and they've happened before in the past, those kind of adjustments. And it's just, how do people make those choices? There's also a tendency to think that things have been like they are forever. Just this last weekend, I was in France for a couple of days. And one of the towns that I visited, in the center, there's like a bath that was built by the Romans 2,500 years ago, right? But when they lived there and they built this thing, there was 100 people who lived there. And it was a big town. Maybe the oldest ones were in their 60s or 70s. Really, the adults, there was maybe 40 people, 50 people by generation, something like that. So maybe there were 400 people. You think how many people you meet in a day. And that would have been their entire, because you couldn't go anywhere.